mostly Pima County deputies, then a cavalry of FBI agents showed up. And I mean like a ton of FBI and evidence response unit. They all came into the neighborhood and showed up, and I was told that they were going to be there like all night long doing evidence collection. Hopefully it's not a similar situation to what we saw a couple nights ago in Rio Rico near the Mexico border. Remember, that was when kind of a similar situation. They went out, detained someone, did a search warrant, and it turns out, it seems, that had absolutely nothing to do with the case, and they ended up letting the guy go, the guy named Carlos. Remember, I interviewed his mother-in-law a couple nights ago. This did feel, at first it felt similar, but as more and more FBI showed up, it was a bigger scene out here tonight. It felt more significant. That was just the feeling on the ground. So we'll see how this plays out. But it was a wild Friday night. Again, just for me, kind of just going from one SWAT staging location to another and then ending up in the middle of all this action in this neighborhood and being on the inside of the perimeter. And Mo and I just tried to stay kind of out of the way, and no one really noticed us at first because we were just sitting in our dark car. If you were watching News Nation, I was doing live shots from the dark car, and then eventually one of the deputies saw us and was like, "You guys got to get out of here." So, but we were very careful in the beginning not to give the location, not to give the address. I was trying to just report very limited information because I didn't want to interfere with their operation when there were still so many moving parts. And then, of course, when everyone was officially detained, we were able to report more. And now that we know that they have DNA from Nancy Guthrie's house, they can pretty quickly, with the FBI's help, try to match the DNA there and see if this person is involved. Okay, DNA. On the DNA front, big development today. Okay, I would say this is probably the second biggest development since the surveillance photos came out. Inside Nancy Guthrie's house, they located DNA that does not belong to Nancy Guthrie and does not belong to anyone associated with Nancy Guthrie. Okay, so a stranger's DNA located in the house. And remember, we know that they've taken DNA from Nancy Guthrie's family members, and we know that they've taken DNA from people who came in and out of the house, like landscapers, pool people, Uber drivers, that kind of thing. So they apparently ruled those people out in terms of whose DNA this is that they found in the house, and there is someone else's DNA in the house. That is a big deal, okay? Because that DNA could belong to the kidnapper. And they can now use that when things like what happened tonight happen. They can try to get a DNA match. The other thing they can do with that, and think back to Brian Kohberger and the Idaho investigation, even if they can't figure out who the person's DNA is that was in Nancy's house and it doesn't come back to a specific database, they can go to 23andMe and all of these genealogy companies that people sign up for to find out their background, which is what happened with Kohberger. And they can try to find matches there with extended relatives, so they could maybe find a third or fourth cousin